ESPN Baltimore Kane is looking for more production out of Will Mallory this week. I was going to see what he's done the first couple ball games.
I agree with Baltimore Kane, and also I'm going to do what I sometimes do and plug my own work. So I dove into the numbers of Miami's offense through 2 games, and I know that it is only 2 data points. It's up on the front page of State of the U. It's entitled, Where Have the Explosive Plays Gone? Because Miami's offense is ruthlessly efficient to this point of the year. And in terms of efficiency, I'm just going to bring it all up because I wrote it and we're going to talk about it. So wherever the explosive play is gone, click the article. I've been working on this for a couple of days. It really hit me in the press box this weekend against Southern Miss because I was like, hold on a second. Like, this is – I looked – I was actually looking for something else, but then I started to see this and I dove down. So in terms of efficiency, we're talking about success rate. So this is a common tool used to measure efficiency by determining whether every play was successful or not. In terms of success in college football, successful plays are getting 50% of the needed yardage on first down. So 1st and 10, you get 5 yards. On second down, you get 70% of the yardage. So 2nd and 10, you get 7. And then 100% you convert on 3rd and 4th down. So any play that meets that standard is a successful play by the metrics. Miami is 3rd nationally in, which one is it? In rushing success rate. So hitting their mark for success when running the ball. That is the very front page or the top of that article that Mark has right there. So 3rd nationally, that's elite. And if you talk about on passing downs, so 2nd and 8 or whatever, the other definition of passing down. So obviously 3rd, things like that. Miami is about 13th or 14th. It's a different graph and it's kind of hard to count them, but it's in that area. So again, out of 131 teams, you're in the top 10% on passing down efficiency. And so, you're in the 90th, 91st percentile. And in rushing downs, you're in the 99th percentile, like elite. There's 2 teams that are more efficient running the ball than Miami, and they're Michigan and Minnesota. That's it. It's the 3 M's at the top: Michigan, Minnesota, and then Miami in terms of rushing efficiency. And that's great. And I know that's a thing that Miami's been missing. But the explosiveness of offensive plays has been entirely non-existent. And I know that there were a couple, that 35-yard flea flicker and everything, but like there's just no explosion. And further down, 24th percentile in explosive play rate versus Bethune-Cookman, 2nd percentile of explosive play rate versus Southern Mississippi. That means we had fewer explosive plays than 97% of teams when evaluating that metric per game over the last year. That's atrocious. And again, 3 yards in the cloud or 4 yards every play does move you down the field, and you want to be efficient. You want to get all those things, but we need to marry some explosion with the efficiency, and that's really going to come in the passing game, because the run game, if you make a guy miss, a successful play that was average or unexplosive can all of a sudden become explosive because you have a Devin Achane, you have a Jalen Knight, and you have a Henry Parrish. Make a guy miss, and then you get some yardage, or some big yardage. But this is really about the passing offense being, just dink and dunk. Like it's the, DJ Uiagalelei offense. They're talking about his completion percentage, but he's throwing, 3.5 air yards per target. He's throwing slants and bubble screens and, check downs and things like that. You're not pushing the ball vertically at all. And that just compresses everything. And now that makes it harder for everybody to be efficient, and you're balancing, you want clearly that great efficiency, but you need the explosiveness as well. So everybody in the passing game needs to be a lot more productive. Will Mallory, Xavier Restrepo, Elijah Arroyo, any of the other wide receivers, Keyshawn Smith, Romello Brinson, you get Jacoby George back off of a 2-game suspension. All of these things, all these guys are coming back, and then we just got to dial up some schemes that we have not been dialing up. So it's not just Will Mallory, but I really urge you to go read that piece. I think I really did a very good job on that. evaluation. And I presented the numbers. I gave you some schemes further in there so we can run these things. And particularly the one scheme that I want to see from a passing perspective that we have not really run except for like literally maybe twice this year is smash. It's an outside curl, and the inside number 2 receiver runs a corner route behind that. It's a high-low read. If you could do it against man, you could do it against zone. If it's man, you hit the open window. That's probably going to be on the corner route. If it's zone, you read the corner. If he sinks to the corner route, then you throw the quick hook. If he tries to jump the curl, then you throw it over his head. And Tyler Van Dyke was ruthlessly efficient with that last year. So again, ruthlessly efficient on a play that gives you the explosiveness that we're missing. And again, it's not just Will Mallory. It's not just Tyler Van Dyke. It's Josh Gaddis. And I know, look, we ran the ball a lot because we overmatched against these 2 teams that we played, and we could. It's one of those, Dad, why do I have to? Because I said so, or because I can, right? Cool. So we ran it because we could, but that's not going to be good enough against a team that is more talented than yours. And that's what we're going up against in Texas A&M. And again, they might not be better. They might not be better in performance, but they got all kinds of athletes all over the place. You're going to have to dial some of these things up. We're going to have to do these things. Now, there's been things like the end arounds to Xavier Restrepo, Keyshawn Smith, and Brashard Smith so far. You got the flea flicker. You got, a couple little things here and there where it's like a peek through. It's like, okay, well, we don't want to just be the Rhett Lashley offense and try inside zone on 3rd and 7. So we're going to dial up a little something. So I know it's there, and we've seen things. Look back to the Josh Gaddis offense, Michigan against Ohio State last year. That was exotic and explosive. I know that it has to be in there, but we haven't seen that. We haven't even run 4 verticals, really. Like the, famous Mike Leach 6 play. Like everybody goes and you have side adjustments on that man zone. All of that's in there. So, I mean, we really need that. And Will Mallory is but one of the guys who needs to step up, but I think it's everybody. And starting with Tyler Van Dyke, because he admitted that he was not up to his standard last week, but he was pretty bad. He missed some. He was pretty bad. He was pretty bad. So he needs to step it up. Why show explosive plays if not necessary? Because you're going to need explosive plays to score, right? And even Appalachian State had some explosive plays against Texas A&M. Now, one of them was that big Cameron Peoples run that got them down on the last drive to salt the clock to get out of town with that win. But just because he didn't score on that does not make that any less explosive. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to need those things. You're going to need those kind of plays to score. And even last week against Southern Miss, Miami had to settle for field goals in the red zone. Why? Because that field gets small. Those windows get tight, bro. And eventually, 3rd and goal from the 9, probably not going to run that. So now you're going to probably face a 4-man rush. Maybe they bring another one. More often than not, teams are going to play zone on the back end. And good freaking luck with 7 guys probably back there finding a window and fitting that ball in there and not having somebody else leave their assignment or whatever to come over there. It just gets tougher to score points from that in the passing game from that area. So you're going to have to take the top off of the defense. And again, one hand washes the other, right? So you're going to be efficient in that run game. So why don't we run play action? Because they're going to come up, right? Why don't we try a shot over the top to loosen that secondary so we have room to run? It has to be both. So it can't just, what I'm saying is it cannot only be efficient with no explosion. And it cannot only be explosion with no efficiency. Go look at, it was so explosive that it turned efficient, but that App State North Carolina game from a couple weeks ago, they just scored every 3rd play pretty much. But you need an element of both is what I'm saying. And this is a real similar conversation to what Texas A&M is talking about, because they're very pedantic, they're very plodding on offense, and they're not getting these explosive plays, and they're not then, obviously, like you saw, they're not winning a game against a team that they're way more talented than. So it is, I believe, an element of explosiveness is necessary, but it does not need to be every single play. But it can't be where Miami has fewer explosive plays than 128 of the other 130, FBS level teams. That's not good enough. And that's what that piece is all about. That's what I've been talking about for 10 minutes. So go look into it. And we need to see a change.